Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Rockstar Chronicles, Series 1, my book featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. It's available now at bookbaby.com and amazon.com. Mr. Billy Stokes is a rock guitarist and songwriter from Tucson, Arizona. He went to Southern Cal and tried to make it, but ended up in the military, the Army to be exact. He traded his guitar for a gun and found himself in Germany. 1997, Billy Stokes was injured in the line of duty. When he was released from the hospital, he decided to pick up where he left off decades before and began writing the songs that appear on his powerful album, Muscle and Blood. The album features rock legends, Mr. Frank Marino, Pat Travers, Les Dudek, Barry Sparks, and Marc Storace of the Swiss rock giants Krokus. The album received the Producer's Choice Awards in 2020 for Best Rock Album. Pat Travers plays lead guitar on the songs Firestorm and Money Slave, while Les Dudek plays lead guitar on Down on Me and Fort Stockton Boogie. The amazing Frank Marino of Mahogany Rush plays lead guitar on The Beast. Storace sings all 16 songs, including the Robin Trower classic, Twice Removed from Yesterday, one of my favorites. Billy Stokes has also worked with legendary drummers Carmine and Vinny Appice, heavy metal bassist Rudy Sarzo, and drumming great and friend of mine, Corky Lang. Stokes recently teamed up with Mike Varney, producer, guitarist, and label owner. They are scheduled to record a new album with such greats as drummer Ansley Dunbar and special guests. They are finalizing the song arrangements and are very excited. On a personal note, Billy recently rescued his in-laws from the Ukraine. Please welcome honored Army vet, rock guitarist, and songwriter Billy Stokes to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Billy.
Hello, brother Ray, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for your service, first of all.
Oh, thank you for thanking me. I mean that. I really do.
We appreciate everything you've done to help our country stay safe, man. Do you still live in Tucson?
I do. Yes,
You do?
I do. Yep. Been here 20 years now.
Wow, it's a cool
Yeah.
place. My cousin lived there, and she got married there, and I went to the wedding, and we did the scenic thing in
Okay.
Tucson.
Okay.
We saw the movie studio, the old Tucson American movie studio, the Desert Museum in Sonora.
Right. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool place.
Yeah. Tucson is kind of a gem in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
It's a city of 1 million people.
Right,
It's very spread out, so they have retained the single story ethos. The old pueblo is what they call it,
right.
by not letting it build up. So there's just a lot of scenic things to do out here.
There is.
When you compare it to Phoenix, especially,
Yep.
which is 2 hours up the road.
Right.
So Tucson really does have some charm, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know, but Paul McCartney's got a connection out in Tucson.
Right down the street.
Really?
Right about 10 minutes away, you start to get to the east outskirts of Tucson,
Uh-huh.
and I could take you out there right now. Everything's kind of nestled down in the Sonoran Desert, growth there, and
Right.
of course the houses are like you might imagine. They're
Yeah.
pretty opulent, but just beautiful scenery with the big saguaro cactuses. And another thing I don't know, you may or may not know, is the band The Eagles
Hmm.
have a history out here as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of that tequila sunrise
Yeah, that's right.
imagery might be attributed to their desert experiences out here with Linda Ronstadt, by the way.
And you mentioned Phoenix. That's Alice Cooper country up in Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah.
and fee waybill country,
That's
because
Fee Waybill of the Tubes.
I just heard that interview that you did with him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Super interesting guy. I've
Yep.
talked to him a few times
Hmm.
over the years.
Yeah. You'll
Really
have to
good.
get him on one of your albums, one of your upcoming albums.
Hey, you know what? This day and age with social media, the super cool thing is I can grab my phone right here and probably find a way to be talking to him
Right.
if I tried hard enough. So
Yeah.
that's an amazing tool for us
Oh yeah. Very
dreamers,
cool.
you know.
What do you
Yeah.
got going there? I see. Is that a flame?
You know what this is?
Oh,
This
nothing's
is
catching on fire while we're talking.
no, this is my little altar, man, that
Oh,
I
cool.
brought some sage. I
Right.
was burning a little sage. Speaking of the Indian, the
Yeah.
desert, this is there were a lot of Indian, there's reservations out here.
Right.
So I said, before the show, I'm gonna burn a little sage and some sweet grass, what puts the good out
Cool.
before the Ray Shasho show. But somehow this little vessel has gotten out of control now. There must have been some wax down. So we'll just make it part of the
Okay.
part of the show. But
Yeah.
as long as the house doesn't light on fire, I think we'll be okay, man.
I thought Arthur Brown was in the room, the guy at Hellfire.
Right. That's kind of weird because I've been talking a lot to Mike Varney.
Yeah.
And if ever there was an interesting guy on the planet,
Really?
I'm here to tell you it's Mike Varney. I don't know if you know him.
Well, I don't know him, but he's got a great history, great resume.
Well, after we're done, what you and I we'll have a talk about, my friends becoming your friends. Okay?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I did also want to mention about Arizona, the trip to Tombstone. I went to Tombstone. That place is awesome. That's and it's very spooky too.
It's the real deal.
It's a real deal.
It's the real deal, man.
Yeah.
It's the town.
Yep.
I mean, of course, it's sort of a tourist attraction, of course, in this day and age. But man, when you start to look at the geography and the mountain ranges that are historical, where not Sitting Bull, but the other Indian warrior, Cochise.
Cochise, yeah.
Cochise, where they trapped him up in those mountains, not
Right.
too far back. They're really dramatic cliffs. When you drive in that area, you look off to the sort of the east, the northeast, and you'll see these cliffs that just kind of pop up out of the desert, and that's where they chased him, ultimately trapped him, and I think that's a time where the Indian nation was realizing that it's a done deal, it's over. These
Right.
Europeans are taking over.
Yeah.
Taking over the thousands of years of culture or life they had known.
Yeah.
All over this continent.
Right.
Really. So.
Yeah, it's a shame that we could have learned a lot from the Indian culture, man. There's, the way they live off the land, and
well, you see what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting us right here with the spirits, but
Yeah.
It's true.
Yep. First of all, I want to talk about what you got coming up. I want to talk about your existing album because I did review it, listen to all the songs. I love the album. I gave it 5 stars, by the way. It's a great album. Great album. First, but I want to let my audience know about your military background. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I'll try to encapsulate it, not get too long-winded. So,
right.
I grew up in Southern California. I started playing guitar in Riverside, California at 11 years old. Parents put me through lessons. Dad was private industry as a PhD metallurgist engineer.
Wow. Huh.
He had some tough times in the private industry. He ends up with the federal government, and we end up in China Lake, California, which is not on the map. It's
Right.
the world's largest weapons research development center.
Oh,
So I was born in Los Alamos, by the way, where Pops worked at the secret lab up there,
okay, cool.
where the bomb was built. So
Yeah.
we end up in high school up in Ridgecrest, California. Shout out to Ridgecrest.
Okay.
It's a support town for NWC, Naval Weapons Center.
Okay.
And so there we are. We're going to high school. There's only 2 stoplights. We spend our time up in the desert at keg parties. Lots of music.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of guitar interest from all kinds of people. But so I got in a number of bands and played around, and I kind of realized that this was a long shot as far as like really having some security. I said, wow, this is a slog. I mean, how am I going to make this work? So things got really came to a head in my family. My brother came home. My younger brother came back from college. I came home from San Diego, where all these lunks are in my mom and dad's brand new house. We're all stuck back in the room right next to mom and dad. And dad's driving his Volkswagen Bug with his sack lunch to work every day. And there we are. We all had left at 16, and now we're in our 20s. We all returned home.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. Like, what the hell are we going to do here? My brother came home, my younger brother, God bless him. He just landed in Spain. He's in Spain right now.
Oh, cool.
Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
He came home one day and he said, my girlfriend just joined the Army. And I said, what? Stephanie did? And he goes, yeah. I said, that's impossible. And then he looked at me and we looked at each other, and I said, Army, I would be voted least likely to ever join the Army. But seriously, I had long hair.
Yeah.
The town knew me as, kind of a troublemaker, and that's probably accurate. So we got down there and we joined the Army together, me and my younger brother. He's 3 years younger than me. So there we were, poof, gone.
Wow.
Left town. He went to South Carolina. I went to El Paso, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Boot camp. It segued right into the school, the training. They call it AIT.
Right.
And off to Germany. I got orders to Germany, and he got orders to Hawaii. That's why I hate him to this day. He ended up in an ice cream suit as a medic in Hawaii. I ended up the second or third day in Germany on the world's toughest war game called Reforger. I ended up out there in the weeds with a little foam that on a weapon, a missile system, and
right.
Nothing but spiders all over me. It was wet. I caught a cold that lasted for 6 months. I mean, it was just the 3rd Infantry. There it is, right there, 3rd Infantry, and so I stayed in Germany a lot of years. I met a gal. I married her. I moved off the post. I had my own apartment with the flowers on the balcony, the idyllic German thing. I really started to get into Europe and Germany and Amsterdam, and take a day trip to Paris and Italy. Just so I really sunk my teeth into getting my fill of Europe, and later Russia.
Really?
And we used to be my enemies.
Yep.
I mean, throughout the 80s, we trained. That was the Cold War. We trained to fight the Russians. So we learned about them, studied them, got to know them, slept with them. I mean, they were equally engaged with the Cold War, with the American Army. So we had a lot of very strange stuff happening in Germany in particular. But I was on the Berlin Wall when it came down, and that marks a real change for the whole planet. The whole species.
Yep. Thank you, Ronald Reagan.
Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Thank you. I can't have enough respect for him. Looking
Me too.
back,
He's my hero. Yeah.
Well, I want to say something about his counterpart during that time. Mikhail Gorbachev was also. He was a good man.
Yep.
Gorbachev. He really is the one who said, "Okay, you got my attention. We are going to try it your way." And they let the Soviet Union go. The idea of controlling all these cultures that spread all the way to the Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan. You know, that Soviet Union was far and wide, and it was under communist rule in theory. So Mikhail Gorbachev and Ron Reagan really were the two that gave this planet a chance at peace.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, while you were in Germany, I had a business in DC on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Wow. Okay.
And when they had the summit with Gorbachev and Reagan, the press headquarters was right downstairs from me because the National Press Building was above me.
Okay.
So the Russians would come in and try to barter with me because we were electronics, and they wanted to, you know, give us caviar and vodka for electronics. And I ended up on ABC radio because of that.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way, just talking about the barter system they wanted to do, you know?
Okay.
And Gorbachev was there, and he would leave his limousine and shake hands with everybody in the crowd in DC.
That's very interesting to me. I really am a student of all things Russia.
Right.
I've really studied the geopolitical connections, you know, between our country, and my wife is from Ukraine, and my in-laws are in the back room. We just got them out of the war.
Yeah, how'd you do that, by the way? Was it hard?
Boy, it was stressful, and it took a lot of effort, but it was well spent energy, you know. The way I can tell you this is when the Russians started to surround Ukraine, I was kind of screaming the silent scream. Well, not so silent. I was saying, you need to go now to her parents. You need to go now. And it's hard to leave your home thinking you're never going to come back. You just put your new floor in, you just put the new tile in, and a new fridge, and you got your flat screen. It's hard to leave your home under that sort of context of like, we may never come back. So they didn't leave. And the day the Russians crossed the border is the day that we just, you know, said there is no more conversation about this. You're going to the train station, and you're going now.
Right.
So they left their home and that they own, you know, and they got down to the train station and started the journey from Mariupol to Kiev, which is a long way. So 6 days of trains, 6 days of us booking tickets as they would come available on the computer. We would, you know, window would open, we'd get a ticket. So we got them to Kiev about the same time the Russians were coming to the outskirts of Kiev. So a lot of fear and loathing, a lot of stress, a lot of worry. They made it on another train the same day to Poland. That took 2 days. It's about a 2-hour ride, but the train was stopping and starting. Everybody would disembark the train and run into the forest. There'd be threats of attack, and it was just the fog of what you might expect of insanity, really. And they made it to Poland, and we breathed a huge sigh of relief at that point. From there, well, they got COVID. Just real quick, they got COVID and laid on the floor for the next 10 days. The Polish people put them in quarantine. They got through that. We got them on a plane to London. I called some folks. I had met some people in Kiev when I was over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of them I've seen on TV recently. In fact, I've seen people on TV recently that I've been around, like General Wesley Clark,
Right.
Ambassador Bill Taylor. Anyways, we got them to London, and we got them on a plane to Phoenix. Here they are, safe and sound.
Thank God.
Yes.
Do they have hope of returning back to Ukraine, or are they going to stay here?
Well, their city is Mariupol, and
Okay.
if you've been watching the news, Mariupol is the one city that, for whatever reason, the Russians have decided to exterminate. They've destroyed every structure in the city.
Unbelievable.
There is not one apartment building standing.
Really?
They're standing, but they're burned out.
Yeah.
Nothing left of Mariupol.
Unbelievable.
And I think it's because Mariupol, when I was there in the past, they had already dug a military in Mariupol trenches and put the Ukrainian army down there.
Yeah.
I think maybe the Russians thought we're really going to punish you for having the nerve to think that you're going to protect your country or fight us. Or hard to say a lot what's going on.
Putin is such an idiot, just like Fidel Castro. They could have lived in luxury, peaceful. Castro was the same way. Another yo-yo.
I think power, my mom said it, power does something to the brain.
Yeah, it does.
There's some chemical.
I think you're right.
At least when people get all this power, it starts to change the way they're thinking.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's just shocking.
It is shocking. Yeah.
To see a missile hit a building full of volunteers. I mean, I can't get my mind around this. 43 dead, none of them Army. It really is depressing. I mean,
very depressing.
It's let's just all pray.
Yeah.
Let's just all use our positivity and our energy, and we're victimized too. I mean, we're sitting here feeling like this. It's nothing compared to what's happening. But me and Mike Varney have been talking a lot about religion, spirituality, terms like good, bad, devil, God. We've been talking a lot about everything. So,
Billy, all the rock stars I've been interviewing lately, the conversation and all their albums are about what's going on in the world today. And we're all talking about religion. All of us. Yeah. Me and Ian Anderson were just talking, almost a whole show about religion.
The fact that you and I are talking about it right now, when Mike Varney, if and when he hears this, he will just attribute it to there's something going on.
There is.
It's moving a little quicker. It's kind of spooling up. It's spooling up like a turbo. People are talking. We don't really understand it, but I think the best way for me to understand it is to think in the broader terms of good and bad, right and wrong, morality, people, species, us helping each other, big ticket stuff.
I want to talk about music. First of all, there really isn't a lot of military guys that turn rock star that actually was a proud soldier. Some of them gave a lot of trouble to the military because they were smart asses. Even Hendrix, was kind of a smart ass. He was in the military and everything. But some of the guys that we're really proud of in the military that became rock stars, Jason Everman. I don't know do you know Jason Everman?
Isn't he country or something?
Nirvana and Soundgarden.
Oh.
but
Okay.
he was
Yeah.
he was
Okay.
honorable discharge. He was very big in the military. Also, as a matter of fact, he did tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. So
Okay.
Tony
So
Caldwell was in the Marshall Tucker Band. He served in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. He was injured by a landmine. He had a medical discharge, and of course, Artemis Pyle from Leonard Skinner. It was a
Artemis
Marine.
Pyle I'm really familiar with because when I made my album here, Les Dudek was gracious enough to work with me on it. He's one of my heroes. This came through his manager, Sherry Peck, but I got a call from the Artemis Pyle management to come on out to Florida, down by where you are, and participate in a veterans thing. But I just couldn't make it. But I've always been aware Artemis was a Marine, and you can really see that in him as a person.
Right.
You can really see I'm going to say a cleanliness to his spirit. He's just really there to help people, and he's trying. You can just tell that's the Marine Corps ethos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when the plane went down, the Leonard Skinner plane crashed. He was the one that he was injured as well, but he went and knocked on people's door, and he was the one who got help. There's a whole story about that.
I'm sure his military experience probably helped somehow.
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to talk about Muscle and Blood. Okay. Muscle and Blood was released, I believe it was in 2016, late 2016.
Correct.
I said, it's a hard rock euphoria at its very best, 5 stars. It's like all the great rock bands of the 70s rolled into one. How's that?
Oh man. You know how good that makes me feel. And I'll tell you why. Because you really were very astute at that description, because the songs that are on the album were created by virtue of songs that for a period of time that were like the inception, the hooks, the riffs that became the songs were things that I had done that were there ready for development. And songs like Fort Stockton Boogie, which Les Dudek is, you hear him on Ramblin' Man. That's really who's on that song by the Allman Brothers, Les Dudek and Dickie Betts. But the slide playing is it's so, to me, recognizable. But the song Fort Stockton Boogie, Les plays the slide on it. But what I was trying to say is the songs that went on that album, I think they have depth and feel good, because each one, has kind of a story behind it of how it was dreamed up. And when you mentioned those other band names, I gotta say, those influences, when you are a guitarist, when you play guitar, those influences are bound to come out.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether,
sure.
Aside from you. These things you've listened to all your life.
And it's a good thing. Yeah.
It's a great thing. It's amazing. It's amazing because people like you will say something like Judas Priest or AC/DC. Someone will say, hey, that song sounds like Aerosmith.
Yeah.
That taught me everybody has a filter, has a unique perception of music.
Sure.
Unto themselves.
Yep.
What they're hearing.
It's funny because I said shades of Humble Pie, Nazareth, Judas Priest, and AC/DC.
Nazareth. See, that's one I hadn't made an association.
Well, Mark's voice,
Mark's voice.
Yeah.
But maybe some of the guitar, maybe the simplicity of some of the arrangements.
Well, it's a great album. I'm going to pick some of my favorites on this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We know Nevermind. It's got Les Dudek on it. That's a favorite. One for the Road, great vocals. Marc does a great job on One for the Road.
Uh-huh.
Runaway has an interesting intro.
Mhm.
Love the guitar on Runaway, by the way.
Okay.
Is that all you?
That's all me.
You really shine on that track.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. You know, that's great of you to say.
Mojo Filter. The girl on the intro. Who's that?
My daughter, Annabelle.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's great.
That's Annabelle.
All right. Shout out for Annabelle.
We love Annabelle.
And it has a great ending too, Mojo Filter. It's a good song.
Yeah, that's a really kind of song that's working.
Yeah.
It works. You know, as a songwriter, you know, you start from scratch, you know, where do you even start? But sometimes if something comes to you and it's already written, it's, you know, that hook, it's like, you know, jumping on a bicycle or something. Once it starts, you know, it's a done deal.
You wrote all the songs, all the lyrics?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the music? Was that all you two, or
that's all me?
Yeah, that's incredible. How can you put together such a fantastic first album?
That's what everybody kept asking me, and I gotta say that I heard a song that I wrote that I had forgotten about. And by the way, I have forgotten all the bad songs I've written.
Okay.
You know, or maybe they weren't bad, but maybe they were poorly recorded. I just didn't know what I was doing. This all started with an idea that maybe I can write music, right? Maybe
Damn right you can.
And I got to shout out to my poor wife, Natasha, because now I remember sitting on the coffee table, roughing out the arrangement for Fort Stockton Boogie, which is a real simple, kind of hillbilly. It's really overtly country-esque hillbilly blues. You know, it's kind of a country rock song. It's one Les Dudek. There's a middle section in it that's downright jazzy, that just fell into place. It reminds me a little of Steely Dan in some respects. And boy, I mean, just that middle section is so pleasant. You know, as some of the band drops away and you're back just on the, you know, the groove, and Les Dudek just dropped that slide performance meticulously in there, and wasn't just like throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. It was really a work, you know, that became a work, that song, you know. So I'm just saying that it started with, you know, bleeding out of your forehead to try to do this right, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like writers, you've heard like good writers, how did they write that book? And a lot of them will just say it was painful. I really, you know, worked behind the scenes to do it, you know.
But even the titles of the song, you know, they're incredible. They're very unique, you know. That's very unique.
True. You mentioned the song "One for the Road," and I'll try to express what I'm trying to express here about what belies the songwriting. So that riff kind of, I was influenced off of the Black Country Communion videos I had been watching. That's Glenn Hughes, Jason Bonham, and Joe Bonamassa. I noticed they had a pretty good take on rock and roll, making it fresh in the here and now. And those kind of up-tempo songs that they kind of have a formula, if you will, to their music. It's kind of mean, it's kind of up-tempo. It's, you know, it's just really well done. So the song "One for the Road," I had arranged it, but the singer was on his way over from Switzerland.
Right.
And there were no lyrics to that song. And I just kind of channeled it, and I thought, Marc is in the air right now. And that song starts out, "See me cut the sky." That's the first line in that song. "See me cut the sky." Well, I just started writing from Mark was in a plane. He's cutting through the sky. No need to ask me why. I said, don't ask Mark why he's coming here. He just is. His manager told him not to. And it goes from there. And there's some honesty throughout the rest of the lyrics. Like I'm singing about my father, before your little boy walk a country mile, but you're heading for an overload. So it's just a jumble of words, yet there's some truth in there from the songwriter's standpoint, and maybe that creates the depth that you might be feeling or receiving. It's a weird thing. It's a really strange thing.
Well, it just sounds like a powerful band, that has been around for a long time,
Yeah, that's the hard thing. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you get all these guys to perform on the album?
That's kind of manipulative on my part, I suppose, in that it's like, I learned a lot in the military about, in the Army, there were times where you were, had to get things done.
Right.
Like if you flew into Germany and you got a wife and kids, but the platoon sergeant won't let you go to housing because he wants you out in a war game.
Right.
He just said, no, I don't want to hear it. You're going, and you'd like, well, my wife and kids are in a train station,
Yep.
And so, I kind of learned what I did is I got a hold of, I think it was one of them, Pat Travers or Les Dudek, and basically explained that this is a serious project, and we have the singer from Krokus coming in, and kind of laid out the intentions. And I think when they heard some of the songs, like Mark, his manager said, that'll be 25 grand. And I said, I don't have that. But Mark told me later that he heard the music and said, I'm going to come. I like it. I'm going to come. And I make my final decisions. He's under Sony, right? But
right.
So I think he heard the songs, but I kind of played everybody off everybody. I said, hey, you got some pros coming in, and talk to these guys. And between, a few other things, it kind of grew. It kind of formulated the approach to making an album by virtue of other professional musicians, as session players.
Yeah, I imagine these guys, they're after lockdown and not touring, they welcome an idea to go out and perform on an album.
I think artistic people,
right,
beyond the fashion or the industry or the perception of it's showbiz ultimately, in a way, especially live performance. But I think at the core, people are artistic, and Les Dudek is a good example of someone who probably appreciates a good arrangement.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy. He wants to help you. There's that too. There's people like who are thinking, Christ, you want to get involved in this because it's gonna test you, but if you want to, I'll help,
I think some of the things that really helped is you're an excellent guitar player, great songwriter. That helped out a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you're, a war hero. So that also helps too.
Maybe so. Maybe I forgot to mention the military sort of influence there.
Right.
It might have helped lead some of these guys to get involved.
Yeah.
But I really can't thank you enough for, it's official now. I'm a rock star, and I'll tell you why. I'm on the Ray Shasho show. That's official.
That's right.
It's official. Now it's official. So
yep. You're one of the legends now.
Okay. But I really am grateful that we're here, and that the album actually it's starting to sell better That's interesting.
Well, I'm promoting the hell out of it. I'm trying,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
speaking of that, I started looking at the people you've interviewed in your book. And so my brother landed in Spain last night. He's there. And I just texted him. I said, get this book, man, because he does the ebooks. And
Right.
my mom reads a lot. Those two I'm always busy doing stuff. I don't designate enough time to sit down and read
Right.
much, but they do. And so I just told my brother to pick it up because I saw that list of people that you have interacted with, and that is truly amazing. Johnny Winters is on there. Jack Bruce.
Yeah.
Interviewed Jack Bruce.
The first chapter is all guys that aren't with us anymore,
Oh, yeah. So Jack Bruce, I had Corky Lang here.
Yep.
And we wrote songs that are still in a shoebox of the sort of the little cassette tapes. And I really didn't know his history. I didn't even know he played at Woodstock, but yet he was here. We had a good time drinking coffee here and writing music. Kind of later, he when he left, he handed me some personalized CDs, and there's Jack Bruce, Bruce Lang, and
West Bruce and Lang. Yeah.
West Bruce and Lang, Leslie West.
That's right.
Jack Bruce, who, Cream, you think of Jack Bruce, you think Clapton and Cream, and that super iconic, earth-shattering stuff back then, Beatles, Cream, the first Stone stuff. And Jack Bruce is a bona fide talent, but I was really kind of awestruck that Corky, he was on these albums, he played in Woodstock, and then I saw you interviewed Jack Bruce. So what was that like?
He's a funny guy.
He's a Scotsman, right?
I believe he is. Yeah. He's a funny guy. We had a great conversation. I reviewed his final album before he passed away. Okay. Really nice guy,
Yeah.
And he loved working with Travers too. They worked together.
I was just gonna mention I have the BLT album sitting. I can see it from here. Is the Jack Bruce and Robin Travers.
Yep.
Which when you go back to it stands the test of time.
It does.
Really is.
It really does.
Good stuff, man.
Back to your album real quick. The World Won't Take Me Back.
Oh, wow.
Man, he really sounds like Bon Scott from AC/DC on this one. Great lyrics, great guitar. Who played the harmonica?
That was a guy named Brent Court. Brent, if you're listening to this, we love you. Brent manages some pretty major venues here in town.
Oh, cool.
So it's common to see him standing with people like we just mentioned, to see him. So he's a fixture here in Tucson. He's a musician himself.
Okay.
Obviously. So he put the harp in there, and I got to say, couldn't be a better place for a harp.
Yeah, definitely.
What to do with that song, and that song also has a true history. It is written about a friend of mine who recently died, and left me everything. He left me his big giant Ford truck out in the driveway, trailer, 35-foot trailer, big huge Mesa Boogie Roadstar, like a $5,000 amp in there, a Taylor guitar sitting, just on and on and on. That song was written about him. He was the muse for that song. And I just wrote that song lyrics thinking of Randy and put it pen to paper, and that's about Randy Seville, who passed away. And that's a crazy story. I knew him over 40 years ago. He was in my living room playing guitar. In Ridgecrest, I went around the world and bumped into him here at Guitar Center in Tucson.
Right.
I'm gray, he's bald, he's 10 years older. It's just one of those happenstances that's just really, really strange. Like, we didn't recognize each other. But anyways, Randy is the muse for that song.
Awesome. Great song. Like I said, every song on this album sounds like you guys have been together for 20 years. You know, you sound like a professional. Well, these guys are professionals, but it just sounds like a classic rock band from way back.
I gotta shout out to the people that are part of that. And I think the reason it feels, homogeneous and together like a band is Barry Sparks is the bassist.
Yep.
You know him from UFO, Michael Schenker, Ted Nugent, Whitesnake, Stockton.
Another great resume.
So he was in the studio with me on these songs, getting next to him in the lead up to recording them. He knew the drummer from past projects, Jim Pavette, who was the studio owner. So I think the familiarity between those two, I think they had been in a band once or something like that, or released Barry's solo album.
Right.
So I'm watching those two guys in the studio. And so, here's the song we're going after. You got the headphones on. You're kind of flying by the seat of your pants because there's all kinds of stuff that's not in the song yet. And like, well, where's the solo going to be? And so they're playing along, and Barry sometimes would stop and he'd say, "Hey, Jim, let's come out of that chorus and double tone going da 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 da." Some real clever sort of things that help glue everything together. Sort of on the spot. That's why I'm a big proponent of live recording.
Yeah.
It's got to sound good before it goes to tape.
I agree.
And, the only way to do it is there.
Sure. Did was Frank in the studio with you guys?
Frank Marino.
Yeah.
Frank was up in Montreal.
He was in Montreal. Okay.
That was file sharing. That.
Okay.
But actually, that's not quite accurate. Frank took all the files for that song, The Beast, and kind of my engineer almost lost his mind. And I mean, Frank wrote and sent a manuscript of what he wanted, highly technical. He took all the files regarding that song, which is not usually how you do it. You usually send an artist a song. The song is like one file, and he will install the contribution, if you will.
Right.
But Frank wanted all the files so he could raise a hi-hat, pull it down, every little parameter. And he actually took that song, and in the middle section, he bumped it up a whole step to create a little more dramatic sound. The song is The Beast. It's the slow rolling song of war, which would be really on time these days. The Beast, it's talking about the Beast is kind of like my idea of Satan, almost like in war. Like you get soldiers who are killing each other, looking at each other in the eyes sometimes and wondering, why am I killing you? I don't really know you.
Exactly.
You could be a perfectly good guy. Why am I killing you? So wars take on this strange thing, and even the people who caused the wars succumb to it, like Putin, and like who's really in charge here,
Yeah. It's crazy. It really is. Yeah, Frank was good. I know Frank. He's a good guy. If you ever want to talk religion, he's the man.
Oh.
He'll talk to you for hours.
Frank Marino, he's a theologian.
Yes, he is.
He is. I sat in front of him for hours, and we peeled the onion back to it till it was a nub.
Yeah.
He and I, you know who he reminds me of? Galileo.
Wow.
Galileo.
How about that?
I've traveled Italy. I've been in Florence. I've studied all that. And Frank Marino reminds me of, he's just a thinking man. He's a thinker. He's
very intelligent guy.
And obviously a doer.
Yeah.
you know.
He's
Amazing.
he's half Italian and half Syrian, and he was brought up kind of with the same, ethnic foods like I did with the Syrian cuisine. He just retired.
Yeah.
And he's having some health issues. I just hope he's okay,
Have you been able to talk to him lately?
Or I did after he announced the retirement. I wanted to get him on the show, but he was a little reluctant. I don't think he wants to talk about what's going on.
I haven't been able to really.
Yeah.
I've hung out with him. I've been at his house. I love him like a brother.
Right.
He's helped me in a lot of ways.
Yep.
So like you, I really was worried about him. Zach Wilde also is a big fan of Frank Marino and helped with editing the Legacy DVD. So he put us on the credits amongst a lot of other people. But I've tried to. He is not in the talking mood.
No, not at all.
So
see, I know he had the issue with the frozen shoulder, but I think this might be worse.
This is not an orthopedic issue. It's more of a neurological thing. Is all I can say.
Right.
He told me what's going on, but I said, I'll keep it under wraps. But it is, I mean, with each day we have where we're not sick,
I know.
It's like
especially when you get older.
It could happen to anybody. So, do the best you can do.
Yep. I had an episode recently that was life-threatening. And
what was that?
Came back from Applebee's. I ate kind of heavy, but I started getting a pain in my chest and it wouldn't go away, and it lasted for a long time. Come to find out, I was in the trauma center and they stuck a needle next to my heart and had to drain blood around my heart out. And they said if I got there later, I wouldn't have made it.
Oh, wow.
Came out of nowhere though, it's like, what
was that all about? What is it about?
Something bled inside me and it bled around the heart, around the sac, I guess. And
that's scary stuff.
So off and on, I was 3 weeks in the hospital and in the cardiac unit.
Okay.
But I've always been in good shape and I've been exercising a lot,
You look good.
You don't know though. It's things happen.
It's a machine.
It's a machine. We are a machine.
I have a lot of issues.
Yeah.
A lot of issues.
You look good.
Well, thanks. I feel pretty good, but my whole spine is fused with rods and screws, about that much of it. So that was a 10-hour surgery.
Ooh.
And I've had a lot of surgeries, and I'm scheduled for a 7-hour. They want to fuse the remaining vertebrae. There's 4 of them. So I'm actually scheduled for surgery. But I didn't make it through the pre-anesthesia testing. They said, you got something wrong with your heart.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Up to cardiology I go, and they say, well, you got a kind of a prolapsed valve, like it crushes, when you watch your heart on the machine, it's I think that little bit of muscle can prolapse, it can crush down. So there was that, some other things, but I don't want to bore you and everybody else, but a lot of people have medical problems, and
when you hear everybody else's stories, you don't feel too bad,
well, that stuff that you're talking about is really kind of scary, especially now that I've been up to cardiology. Like, whoa, that's right. You have this thing in you that never stops moving called your heart. Whoa. All I can say is, God bless you, and I will put you in the prayers.
Me too. For you.
But you look great. You look good.
Thank you. It's amazing what they do with the heart nowadays, though. How
do you feel? Do you feel like we're about the same age? You feel pretty good?
I do. I do. I work out every other day and it feels good. I do the rowing machine a lot and the bicycle and, you
Yeah, I
know,
can see, I can see you. I can
push
see your
myself.
active. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
As
Great.
long as I don't stop exercising, I'll be okay.
Yeah, we can't let you go nowhere yet, Ray.
No,
You know,
no.
we got too much
Yeah,
fun to have.
exactly. We're still young. We're still young.
Totally,
Yeah,
totally.
60s are the new 50s.
Absolutely. You just did Pat Travers interview,
Yep.
and he's got that song "Push."
Yep.
Push yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I've listened to it about 5 times now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's exactly right. We're in our 60s, but as long as we push ourselves a little bit,
That's
we'll make
right.
it happen.
Exactly right.
Make it happen. Have some more fun. We're not done.
We're not done yet. Rock Fever, that's an anthem, man. That's an anthem.
I think, yeah, it is. That's a good song.
It's a great song.
It's the one I hardly play it, but I don't know why. Maybe because there's so many songs. There's 16 songs on the disc, but Rock Fever sounds like it fits right back somewhere in radio, 70s radio hit.
It does.
Or something, and I think the influence for that song came out of my brain. I listened to a lot of stuff like Rainbow, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, and their approach, and some of the Joe Lynn Turner stuff.
Yep.
Their approach to that is very, how do I say it, cinematic almost in the way he crafts the lyricism, and background vocals are second to none on Rainbow. And that Rock Fever is kind of, it sounds like Bon Scott though, doesn't it?
It does sound like Bon. That's, if you see my notes there, it sounds like Bon Scott. That's funny.
Yeah. Like the resurrection of Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Like really uncanny.
Yeah. Mark's I love his vocals. You picked the right guy there.
well, there's a little story behind that too.
Yeah.
And that is, initially we had reached out to David Van Landing, who was a singer that Barry Sparks had toured with the Michael Schenker group.
Right.
So we had reached out to him thinking we will put him on the album. And tragically, he died in a automobile accident.
Oh my God.
Right at the same few days after we had sent him the music. He came around in Florida. He came around a corner, hit the back of a trash truck, killed him instantly.
Oh my goodness. That's horrible.
It was horrible. It was a horrible thing. And that's at the point where I was sitting around it. Like I said about social media, I just said, well, I need someone to sing this record, and as tragic as David, losing him, Barry Sparks had said at some point, he had said that one of the songs sounded like a Krokus song. And at some point I was at home sitting in front of the computer and typed it in and got his name, and went to the task of reaching out to Marc, and by God, I got through his management at first, but eventually he came through and said, I like your songs,
Yeah.
He's a superstar over there.
Yeah.
He's a household name
in
Germany and Switzerland.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah. Huh. So you do pretty much what I do. I get all my interviews myself. I don't have any help. I reach out to all these guys, but it's a lot harder for you because doing an interview is a lot easier than getting somebody on your album. I mean, that takes a lot more talent.
It does take work and energy.
Yeah.
As you well know, I mentioned earlier, Les Dudek, helping people. Well, the stuff you're involved in, a lot of it is word of mouth and people reaching out and helping. Right. And I think the people involved with it are typically really positive people.
Yes, they are.
Because you have to, in
Mhm.
this country, if you want to be involved in the arts and music, we're kind of on our own when it comes to like any government subsidies or anything.
Right.
We have to really make it all happen
Yep.
From the ground up, sort of.
Exactly.
You know, this isn't Germany where
Right.
the city of Nuremberg is going to pay all the bands a set
Mhm.
fee and provide the venue and transportation and, you know. But I think we're doing good. I think we're getting better after the plague.
Yeah.
You know, I think things are coming back.
I think they are. I think they are. You know, I've noticed there's a lot more cover tunes of Robin Trower lately.
Really?
I just reviewed, just talked to Ann Wilson of Heart. She put Bridges Sighs on her album.
No kidding.
Yes. And of course, you know, Pat Travers has a great cover of Robin Trower. And
Day of
now
the Eagle, right?
Yeah, Day of the Eagle. He does a great job with that.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, you put Twice Removed from Yesterday, one of my favorite songs, which is not a common Robin Trower song either.
Yeah.
Who's the girl singer on that one?
Her name is Crystal Stark.
Okay.
She's from Tucson. She has been a winner of what's it called? America's Got Talent. It's one
Right.
of those shows. One of the big. What's the biggest one?
See, now we're showing our age.
Yeah, America's Got Talent. One of those.
Right.
So she won one of those. But anyways, yeah, Crystal Stark is the girl singing on that, and she's also in all the background vocals on the album with Julianne and Catherine, three
Right.
girls.
Okay.
Three girls are like your traditional
Mm-hmm.
background singers, and that's how those background vocals were crafted into the album. But on that Trower song, she's kind of a real R&B firecracker. But on this rock album, I had told her, I said, sing gnarly, just
Mm-hmm.
try to break a champagne glass, just like just go for it. And
yeah,
she looked at the engineer and said, what does gnarly mean? and so we kind of told her, like, get down, like you hurt someone or something. But I said, listen to the Pink Floyd song where you have that gal, that lady, free form singing, emoting, just no real words, and it's just, the one I'm talking about.
Sure.
I think it's and so I said, across that song, where it's an interesting song, there's only a couple verses where Marc is singing.
Right.
On the original, it's a little spoken word, like, I think I've traveled here before.
Right.
Stood upon this velvet shore. So there's a little spoken word, a verse, but it's a long song, and she just, tracked in across the song, maybe some of the best singing I've ever heard.
Yeah, the girls are great on this album.
Yeah,
they're really good.
That Twice Removed from Yesterday. If you would have been in the studio, I mean, the vocal booth was just
really.
That's how powerful. She's kind of like Pat Benatar, where you hear Pat Benatar on the radio.
Yeah,
that's great, but then you go see her live,
right?
And now all of a sudden you understand.
Yep.
The power of her.
Exactly.
Her voice.
Yeah. I just want to mention a couple of things. You did a hard rockin' Christmas special. You've worked with Carmine and Vinny, of course, as well. So you've done a lot of other projects besides this album. So you're starting to really get well known now, which is great. And so now this brings us up to, what do you got going on now? And talk about the new album.
All right, the new album. I'm starting to really get lit up about what that really means. Is my music mind is the switch is on now.
Okay.
And there's not a moment I'm not hearing music and test driving background vocals and lyrics and solos and rhythms and cut times and key changes, on and on.
Okay.
The brain, it's working full time now because we're leading up to the recording of this next album. So Mike Varney is going to produce this album.
Okay.
Some may know him from owning Shrapnel Records and being sort of the godfather of guitar shredders.
Yep. Metal. Yeah.
I think he brought Yngwie Malmsteen over. I think he definitely brought Paul Gilbert into the scene. Mike is a fine musician in his own right. He's going to produce this album. He's the guy helping me assemble the personnel, if you will. Ansley Dunbar.
Yep. Great drummer.
Great drums. And yeah, he's a rock and roll Hall of Famer with Journey. Whitesnake, Zappa, Jeff Beck, Bowie,
John Lennon. Yeah.
You could go on.
Yeah.
He's kind of regarded as just a brilliant session musician, which is going to be important because, as you alluded to earlier, how do you get group guys to sound like you've known each other all your lives?
Exactly.
How do you make it sound so cohesive? Well, you're going to need people like Ansley who will, he will consider this music and he'll try to interpret it from what I'm doing. He'll get in there. We'll bond up with it. So Ansley will do the drums. Barry Sparks is going to do bass. And after a lot of kind of conversation about bass players, it kept circling back around to Barry. There were a lot of other bassists that we were talking about. So far, Ansley Dunbar, Barry Sparks will play bass. A guy named Chris Logan will do the lead singing, but after speaking at length with Mike last night, one of my visions is to have big harmonies on this next album, kind of like Boston in some spots. You could even maybe say Journey in some ways, Eagles. I mean, bands that have big harmonies present, sort of the sing-along parts of respective songs, So we are now talking about, putting singers with singers to see what might yield the sound we're looking for.
Okay.
It's going to be Chris Logan. It might be, Mike said, the guy from the current Boston lineup. I think he said Tommy, but so we're that's what this is all about, is putting it in place and setting the bar high. We're going to put these people together and we're going to find that harmony sound, which will sound like no other because no humans sound exactly alike.
Is the music written already?
If the songs are already in place, they're not completed. They are in a state of development that is kind of set and floating there. Now, when we are certain of who is going to sing and how it's going to be, that will probably influence some of my decisions about the song arrangements.
Okay.
And I still have this criteria that I want to stay linked to. That's a personal criteria about music and what it should do to people, what I want it to do for people.
Sure.
And when I hear a good Boston song like "It's Been Such a Long Time," that song, there's a breakdown in that song with this acoustic guitar and the big harmony, when I'm taking my time, right there. That's a big, fat, beautiful, rich, and it just is the type of music that I think could bear repeated listenings. So that's kind of, the songs are written, and we'll have more songs that then will go on the album. So we will have some flexibility that Mike and I will go over about what's
Mm-hmm.
going to make it to the final body of work. Yeah.
When do you think you start recording?
I'm waiting on a phone call right now. It could be beginning of June.
Okay.
That's what he told me last night. So,
Right.
or maybe sooner. So,
Okay.
So I'm getting excited about that because,
Sure.
like I said, you know, we're setting the bar high, and we're personal. You know, I'm not fixated on any marketeering per se. You know, I just want to, you know, go to my grave
Mm-hmm.
feeling like I really
Sure.
gave it my all to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to make music, be an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, you really could get a lot of special guests on this new album because you already got the credibility.
Well,
You know, you get Lou Graham. Lou Graham will do it. I'm sure.
Well, he mentioned him last night.
Did you really?
Yeah.
He'll do it. I know he'll do it. He's still got the voice.
Mike mentioned him last night, but
Yeah.
I gotta tell you that we had a conversation about Robin Trower. You know, we had said, you know, you put a bunch of guest artists on that first album, which was kind of a nice group.
It was a good group.
Wounded Warrior.
Yeah.
You know, effort there. It was a great project. You know,
a great project.
But this time around, I think, you know, things they're a little different. And
yep.
We said we won't have as many guest artists, but maybe we'll, you know, have one. I said, well, who do you think would be a great guest artist? And we both agreed Robin Trower would be a real kick in the pants, you know, a real feather in your cap because he's such an icon.
Yeah.
And his music is so deep. Mike told me, he said, write a song for Robin Trower with that in mind. I said, I will. I got some already and this and that, but I really don't think I did. But recently a song came out that a little bit later I said, oh, that would be, that's something Robin Trower would easily, you know, fit into. So I think we may try to make that a reality. You know.
Have you sent him your tune, your Trower tune?
No. I better be careful how I run my mouth, you know, because he doesn't know anything. We know the management, you know.
Yeah, I know him.
Derek, you know Derek.
Derek Sutton. Yeah.
Talk to, you know, when we were doing this album, I had been in touch with them. I tried to. Robin was going to be on the Muscle and Blood album, but he was in London. I think his wife might have gotten ill right at the time.
Yeah, she passed away. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's sad. He's a trooper.
He's a nice guy too.
He's a trooper. I don't know how he does it, because if you've ever Googled his tour history, it's endless.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah. The guy that was really amazing that went on tour and he had difficulties, he couldn't even stand up anymore, was Johnny Winter. You know?
I went backstage when he was here in Tucson and sat with him for a moment, and it was rough.
Very rough. Yeah.
He was not well that evening, maybe not well any of the tour. I'm not sure, but he was very ill. You know, he was just downright ill. He sat for his performance, but he played.
Yeah.
So he's been a fixture in my family. My dad loved Johnny Winters. My father is the guy in the video from the song Road Song.
Yeah, the video.
My dad is the janitor.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he passed away not long after that. We drug him out of bed.
Did you really? How cool is that?
we said we're putting you in the video, and he got all buttoned up.
That's so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, we said put a T-shirt on.
Yeah,
a janitor. But
how old was your dad?
He was 84.
84.
Yeah.
My dad's in a VA home, and he's 97.
He's 97.
97.
He's in a VA home. He was military.
World War II.
Marine.
Marines. He was in Okinawa.
You didn't tell me that.
Saipan. My brother was in Vietnam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
Who? My brother? Yeah. Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah.
God bless him. God bless your dad.
Yeah.
Marine.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. Semper Fi.
My dad was a Marine.
Your dad was also a Marine.
My dad was a Marine. I don't know if you can see that little picture of my dad in his underwear. You see him?
Yeah, I do see him.
See that? That's my
funny.
Dad in the
He looks like a Marine.
in his underwear. That's my dad.
That's funny. Yeah.
A great generation, man.
They saved our ass.
Yeah.
They really did, man.
Could I show you this painting my daughter?
I've been looking at that.
This is a painting of Tommy Bolin.
That's Tommy Bolin. Oh, okay.
I told her that I would show it off because I'm so proud of it. You know?
Did you do that?
My daughter did this.
Oh, your daughter did that.
My daughter did this. I don't know.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's Tommy Bolin. Probably looks weird on the screen, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's an oil painting that she did.
You got to frame it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's coming across, but it's sitting here. It looks really good. You know,
she did a great job.
So that's Tommy Bolin.
You know, Tommy was also half Syrian.
I realize, yeah, and wasn't he part Indian too?
Yeah,
some American Indian.
I know his brother and all the people he performed with back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have family in Syria that?
Not anymore. No, they all migrated to through Ellis Island, Brooklyn.
Okay.
They ended up in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
But they came to Syria from Italy, I found out. So I got Italian blood in me also.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. You got a lot of cultural underpinnings, a lot of food. You got a lot of food choices.
Some great food.
Billy,
I wanted to ask you about Stroker Productions. What's that all about?
That is an LLC company that I put together. Robbie Lochner and I. Robbie is the guitarist from the band Jack Russell's Great White.
Yep.
So I put that business together because I realized I needed, a company to handle various things I was involved with. But we really used it to put on rock and roll concerts here and in the region, California, Arizona. So we did that. We put up a bunch of bands, before the plague. I think what we had done is we had the last band we were looking like we were going to do was Scorpions. So we had the contracts out and everything. Yeah. And then the plague hit and kind of, boom, the door slammed on the whole idea of being rock concert promoters. And so I learned a lot. I did enough shows to really, really learn all of that end of the business. And I'm happy to report I'm out of that business. I'm back into the business of making music. And I want to have nothing to do with having a phone stuck to my head like this 24 hours a day as a concert promoter.
It's a tough business.
Very rough.
I
very tough.
I just
Very
watched the
tough.
biography of Bill Graham, who, he was a genius,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the heyday, right?
Yeah. He had a good head for business. See, if I was promoting concerts, I'd be hanging out with the talent, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to business,
Well, let me ask you some questions. You're a guitar player too, right?
Yeah.
Because I see the guitar in your hand right there.
Yeah.
You're a musician, like Mike Barney.
Hmm.
He's a fantastic guitar player, but his image is that of a producer and a label owner.
Right.
So oftentimes I have to remind myself, wait a minute, this guy is a guitarist, and it looks like that may have been what you were doing before you were doing radio, or the whole time.
We were all in bands in high school, we played in bands and things like that. But ever since Johnny Carson, I wanted to be what I'm doing now. I went to school for broadcasting.
Well, you're really good at it.
Thank you.
You're really good at it. I've been bragging about you.
I appreciate that.
Because it's an art form. There's a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah.
I suppose you hear a lot of people attempting to do it, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Well, so I also wanted to ask, have you also been in the concert promotion business or entertainment?
Just promoting artists like I do now, but I've never actually set up a concert. I always wanted to, though.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big admirer of Celador concerts because I came from DC, and Celador I love those guys. They were incredible,
You're kind of in a good position, is what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
There's some ways, but I gotta say, what you said earlier, it's a very tough business. So it would bear some careful thinking. But yeah, I mean, we got to have people like you. We got to have people like Mike Varney.
Mm-hmm.
We got to have these people that help link it all up.
Sure.
And get music finished, like Pat Travers told. He told me last week, or we spoke a few weeks back, and I said, give me some advice. And he said, he'd tell me what John Lennon told him. He said, finish the song. So that was Pat Travers' advice. And I thought, I stepped back and I said, wow, like a lot of other things, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing. Don't keep writing your Aerosmith hooks, until you got 100 of them, and you start to depart the first song that you should have spent your time on. So
Pat likes you.
Pat's become a good friend. I was warned a long time ago by, I think, his former manager. He said, Pat's a great guy, and he can be a little cranky. And I said, really? I'm getting ready to work with him. Yeah. So Pat, you could say, suffers very few fools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a way to put it. And so our relationship kind of developed.
Yep.
Artistically, and but he's one of my, if not my number one artist, rock and roll artist. Probably Pat. I would say Robin Trower would go number 2.
Mm-hmm. Of all the interviews I've done, over thousands or whatever, I haven't had one guy that was a jerk. Not one.
Really?
Not one. I never had an issue with anybody. Can you believe that?
That speaks to your professional.
Never have. Never have.
Because
Never had an argument.
I've seen things go off the rails before.
Yeah.
With people. You've never had one.
Not one guy. Nobody pissed me off. I always, always had a good time with everybody.
We did an interview up there at Alice Cooper's place. It was Les Dudek, and the guy running the interview, I think he was kind of doing it like Howard Stern. That was his
You can't, yeah,
template.
I don't go
In
into
fact,
that.
he put on a big wig.
Oh, God.
This guy put on a long wig.
Yeah.
And his big problem was the interview was Les Dudek and Frank Marino. But he did zero research about Les's albums.
Exactly.
And so the interview starts and he asks Les, okay, Les, okay, tell us what you've done with your life or whatever. And so Les, long pause, he goes, well, the interviewer said, take us from the beginning. And Les goes, well, I was born. And it's a long pause, and the interviewer goes, okay, then what? And he goes, well, then I became an infant. And then long pause, the interviewer goes,
That's
well,
funny.
What happened after that? And he goes, then they put me in a crib. He really just didn't answer it. He just was like, man, if you don't even know any of my songs,
Crazy.
if you have none of my history,
there's no point in talking.
So I just realized, man, if you're gonna be involved in this, you have to.
That's right.
You have to have some knowledge. You know,
I listen to all the music a couple of times. I read all the books when they have put books out. Make sure I read all the books.
Right on.
If I don't have time to read the book, I get my wife to read it, and then we go over it together.
Well, I'm amazed that you know the songs on my album.
I love the songs on there.
I really, truly am impressed because
it's great music.
People are a certain way. They'll say, oh, yeah, I love your music. But I really don't expect people to, go listen to my music, especially if I'm just promoting it out of, like cold.
Yeah.
So the fact that you listen to it made me think, oh, wow.
That's the fun. That's the fun part. That's why I do this, to listen to new music and, critique it. And, I love it.
Do you still play guitar, or you're still?
Yeah, once in a while I'll pick it up and play. Yeah.
You got no band going though, or you're not?
No.
Pretty busy as it is.
Yeah. I'll, if I get frustrated or something, I'll play it.
Right on. I see your book. I see your book there, the hard copy. Mine's coming.
It's coming, right? It looks good. It's cool. It's a cool book, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How long did that take?
To be honest with you, it probably took about 8 years.
Wow. That's a big book.
Yeah.
A big book. I mean,
it is a big book.
Now, did you sit and
this is the other book I wrote. It's about growing up in the family business. That's me. Wow. That's me when I was little.
Wow. Is that book on the market?
Yeah, it's out there too.
All right.
It's a very interesting story.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll get that book too. I'm excited to get the Rockstar Chronicles. Maybe it'll come today.
You're gonna like it because
yeah. I just finished the Billy Idol book. I got Carmine's book in there.
Yep.
That's where that's going to go after I read it. It'll go in my studio up on my wall of books and albums and whatnot.
Joe Vitale from Barnstorm? He's got a great book out with lots of pictures. He sent it to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll just, like Susie Quattro, we swap books, Yeah.
So I think I'm getting involved in reading books either about or by music people and rock stars because I'm actually learning.
Yes.
Like the interview you did with Fee Waybill, I listened close. It helped me make my own music. You can always learn something every day,
Exactly.
Learn.
Sure.
The Billy Idol book I just finished was really interesting and well written, easy to read, and just kind of a backseat view into what it was like for that guy to create that career, leave England, and all the moves he made to achieve that success. And I got to say, what an artist, kind of fusing all these sort of genres to make an exciting.
Well, you know what? You're going to have to write a book. Your story's very interesting, you know?
Yeah, that's probably valid and accurate. A lot of it is probably, you know, there's a lot of good, but a lot of shades of darkness in there too.
You got to put it in there, though.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
You can't hold back. I did hold back on this book a little bit.
Right.
I didn't want some of the family to know some of the secrets, you know, because they're still around. So
that's probably a smart move on your part. You know, you don't want to, you know, hurt people, or
you don't want to hurt people.
Don't want to hurt people.
But that's what sells, unfortunately.
That may be true, and it just brings me to last week. We had the news people in here at this table with my in-laws.
Yeah,
they did a local news story.
I saw that. I think wasn't it on Facebook or something, on either Facebook or YouTube? I think
probably.
Yeah.
There's been some, you know, people approaching me about their story, but the news people came, the local Channel 4. And they went live. You know, I was looking out the window, and the guys live to get ready to do the bigger show, which was at 10. But anyways, they come in here, and my in-laws, they sat them down to interview them. Now they don't understand English,
right?
But I know enough Russian to kind of pull it off.
Really?
Yeah. But so the point is, the camera people, the producers, they asked them some pretty hard questions, some painful stuff. And after all the stress they've been through, they just kind of broke down. Luda in there. And I just was about to jump in and stop the interview because it was like a lot of tension.
Yeah.
You know, with the question was, how do you feel now about whether or not you can go back to your home? And something really, it just kind of broke the jam. My mother-in-law started crying. I was just about to stop it, and the producer guy goes, no, this is
good stuff.
This is what we want. So I realized, drama. You know, so like what you just said is, people respond to certain negative drama sometimes.
You know, I could reveal so much dirt on some of the things I've heard, but I won't do it.
Good for you.
Rock stars are my heroes, man. You know, I'm not going to do it. I never will. And you know,
that's great of you. That's great of you, because what purpose does negativity serve?
Nothing.
Music is supposed to lift us out of the doldrums.
Yeah.
You know, music is supposed, you know, especially looking at all these other countries, I realize how great this country is.
That's right.
Some of the people I know from, you know, places like Ukraine really never had what we had, which was the fun high school with the rock and roll going on and the desert party or whatever. It wasn't that part of their reality, so they really don't. And sometimes they don't understand people like you and I, and maybe they might even view us as a little childish, in some ways. But it's just, we've had such a great time of freedom and freedom to express our lives, and that's what I think the whole music thing is. You're absolutely right. Rock stars and entertainment people and any people that have hard times. They have problems.
They do. And people don't realize it. And you know, the end result from an album and a concert tour and how much money the artist actually gets, you know, you won't believe how much they have to pay out at the end and how much they get at the end. It's
like that's why I mentioned you and Mike Varney and people like you. I mean, I jumped the chance to do this interview because I realized that what you're doing is probably not making gazillions of dollars for you.
I don't make anything.
You're doing this out of passion.
It's all out of passion. Yep.
And you're serving the community. This will help. This interview will help, you know, in ways you can't quantify. Like, you know, Mike Varney, you know, he'll watch it. Maybe it'll make him come up with an idea based on the
Yeah.
interview. Like, why don't we call
Sure.
so-and-so or the guy from Foreigner?
Right.
Or. So it's really a public service. And like you said, you and Ian Anderson talking about religion lately, the world
Love it.
plague and everything that's happened. It's
That's right.
so important that we pay it forward, push it forward, love each other, you know.
Sometimes I feel like a rock psychiatrist, you know. They would...
Yeah. Well, you've spoken since I looked at the list and I thought that's just amazing. It's like looking at Ansley Dunbar's list of musicians he's worked for.
Yeah, you know? I know.
It's shocking. You know?
I met Ansley a long time ago backstage at a Alvin Lee, Eric Burden show at a small club.
Wow. Eric Burden?
Yep.
Of the Animals.
Yep. And I hung out with Alvin Lee. He played my guitar. He autographed it. I got him cigarettes. Wow. But I went up to Ansley and I said, you know, Ansley, I just bought an autographed John Lennon photo, you know, that's worth some good money, you know. And he says, I could have gotten you one for free.
Yeah, I don't know Ansley. I guess I'm going to meet him soon enough. But I did Google his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction with Journey.
With Journey, yeah.
And I got a little sense of his personality. You know?
Yeah.
He seems like a real pure spirit.
Great drummer.
You know, just a nice guy.
Yeah.
So,
I love your picture with Carmine and Vinny, with you in the middle.
Oh yeah.
You got to blow that up and frame it, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that was taken down here at a venue, and that was a Q&A, I think, a question.
Yeah. I like the expression on your face.
Yeah. Which is like, which icon am I getting sandwiched between? I love those guys. Carmine is truly a friend.
He's a nice guy. Yeah.
I spent a lot of interaction with him, and Vinny. I got to know Vinny. He's another one that is a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and boy, when you think about what these guys have been through and gone through and achieved, like Vinny, Sabbath, Dio, it truly is amazing. And when you see them, you know, retaining their kindness, retaining their positivity,
exactly,
and just being people, just being down to earth, good people that have given of themselves for the craft, the art form.
Yeah.
Vinny, you know.
Well, Carmine, you know, Vanilla Fudge, Zeppelin was a backup act for Vanilla Fudge.
There were
Vanilla
rock
Fudge
stars.
was a headline.
They were flying in Learjets.
Yeah.
You know, in 1968.
Yeah.
You know, they were bona fide on the cover of Time magazine, I think.
Yeah.
That was it's a bygone era.
Yep.
You know.
It was.
But can you imagine? Carmine sat right here at this table and told me all kinds of really mind-blowing stories.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't even believe him. Like, well, I was sitting with John Lennon and we were. Then Woody Allen walked in and then President Kennedy came in. You know, just
incredible.
This stuff where you're going.
Yeah.
Well, this is real. You know, so.
Yeah, I talked to him about he used to party with Telly Savalas with Kojak. That's pretty cool.
Kojak. Right.
Billy, here's
I bet you know Telly Savalas just by looking.
No, never met him. I did meet a lot of actors though back in the day, like James Mason. Remember James Mason, Captain Nemo? Yeah. He was a customer of mine. I hung out with Ted Williams for a couple hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. When I had the business.
I miss those days, kind of the pre cell phone.
Yeah.
Days. The TV with the 5 channels, Gilligan's Island, Bonanza. a news show at 5. America was a little naive, maybe a little. We were one, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So,
Different era.
yeah.
Billy, here's your final question. And I ask everybody this question. I get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
Past or present?
Sure. It could be Beethoven.
Well, you probably can guess what I'm going to say. And that is, if you could have Jimi Hendrix walk through that door right there, come saunter over here in his velvet pants, sit down here with the Strat in his hand or any guitar, and look across the table at me and go, let's play some blues. Then I could die. Shortly thereafter, I could die with a huge smile on my face. Jimi Hendrix is as close to a link to the higher power, God, whatever word you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some strange experiences out in that small desert town out by Death Valley.
Mm-hmm.
One of them involved a hallucination of Jimi Hendrix.
Really? To see Jim Morrison out there?
No, but Jimi Hendrix was in the back of my Volkswagen van.
Whoa.
It was out in the middle of Death Valley, close to it. This is the Mojave Desert.
Yeah. Was
I'm
there any
driving
peyote involved?
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't peyote, but it was the lab made stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm out there and I'm sitting out there and someone is talking to me. They're talking to me. We're having kind of a moment together. We're talking. It's got a deep voice. And I leaned back, and the clearest hallucination that one could ever have was Jimi Hendrix. His face was half in moonlight and half in shadow.
Wow.
I was by myself. Now, this experience, which was chemically induced, I really wasn't sure if I was by myself, but in reality, I was. I'm driving around out in the desert in a Volkswagen van alone at 2 a.m. The desert.
Wow.
So, but that's ridiculous. I know that's a silly story, but Jimi Hendrix, everything you hear people say about his phenomenal connection to music is true.
Yeah.
All of us guitarists still listen to some of the things he does, and we don't understand it.
Yeah.
We don't understand some of it. We don't get some of the things we're hearing and seeing. Sometimes we're looking at a video, but certainly hearing that make guitar players, think that his brain was wired differently.
It was. His music's still always fresh too. It always seems new. It never gets old, does it?
Not with him, but his performances. Like I've been on stage where I'm so busy trying to make sure I make it to the next chord change.
Right.
But there are moments where I'm like in my heart, in my chest, and I feel like, okay, for a moment, I'm in real time expressing myself, and I'm not thinking with my consciousness about this instrument. There are those moments, and when I watch Jimi Hendrix, I think most of the time that connection was real quick. He put his head back, his eyes would kind of roll back in his head, and he was really talking to you from the heart. There was this more of a straighter line when he would play, and express. So
he didn't like his voice very much as far as singing, but his voice matched this guitar playing like 100%. It was perfect.
Honest. Honest. It's honesty. People, I gotta tell you something. People respect honesty.
That's right.
Somehow, some way. And interesting, when Led Zeppelin first came on the scene, the critics slammed them and panned them.
Yeah.
And then the listeners were the ones that eventually told the critics, "We're buying this stuff. We like it." And I mean, Bob Dylan would be a real overt example of talk about singing, kind of people make fun of him, like,
Yeah.
what are you saying? I says, do this. But it's honest, like
Yeah.
it's expression.
Yeah.
Man.
Robin Trower said James Brown. I said, Robin, are you sure you don't want to say Jimi Hendrix? He says, oh, no. I can't play with Jimi Hendrix. He's too good. I can't.
That's interesting. That's so interesting. The song Day of the Eagle, I've always said it sounds like this sounds like James Brown, like with horns.
Yeah, he loved R&B.
Kind of James Brown-esque phrasing, but Robin Trower and Frank Marino have been either nicely compared and sometimes negatively compared to Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. Well, especially Frank. He really had a hard time when he came out playing some Hendrix cover tunes. There were a lot of people bashed him, which was not fair at all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Had you been to some Frank Marino shows, or were you just aware of?
Just aware of it, talking to Frank, he's the one who told me. He was bashed a lot in the beginning. It's a shame because they didn't bash Stevie Ray Vaughan, who was trying to copy Hendrix, 100%. I mean,
yeah, this is interesting. Why people gravitate towards some of that. You know what it is? It's putting other people down to make yourself look better.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's what those people are doing, and they think if
shame.
It goes in one ear and out the other with people. Because my thoughts are, you can't have too many Jimi Hendrixes.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
You can't have too many. I mean, I don't care what it is. I mentioned Boston earlier about my music, my approach to songwriting, and Mike Varney told me last night that the Boston band had just made a greatest hits thing with a new song, and there was somebody was upset that the first song on the album was a new one. I think it was a greatest hits type album,
right?
Had this recently come out, and so Mike says last night that the guy who wrote the song, I guess it's the singer, said, hey, why wouldn't you want, we've all heard the other stuff. This is the same stuff, but it's brand new.
Yep.
Well, why wouldn't we put it up? And then I told Mike last night, I said, that is exactly my mindset right now when I say, let's reference Boston when we go to make some of the vocals.
Sure.
It's not going to sound like Boston.
Yeah.
It's not going to sound like Journey. What it's going to sound like, we really don't know, but we know we want to feel that. We want to feel those luscious, big, happy, sing-along, spirit uplifting.
Exactly.
Tunes. We know that.
Yep.
So,
well, call Robin and call Lou.
I will keep that in mind. I'm going to be talking to Mike today, and at some point he's going to see this show. We're shouting out to Mike, Barney, Mike. Shouting out to him. You're the man. We're going to do this.
What kind of bike do you have? I've been wanting to ask you that.
Oh man, I got a duo. It's called a duo glide out in the garage. And I have a new one that my friend who passed away, Randy, who I spoke about. This bike is insanity. It's a Merch motor built in England. They base all the aftermarket motors that people talk about for Harleys based on that thing.
Right.
It's got all the paperwork with it. What I've been told, because I haven't even started it, what I've been told is that bike is so fast that, be careful riding, or maybe you don't even want to ride it. But some of these biker guys that are in the know, they're like, I don't even know why Randy built that thing, man. It's just, you're better off, Billy, riding just the other ones plenty. They are plenty powerful, the stock ones. So this thing has the external belt on it. It's got like Chi bars. It's a huge motor, and I'm gonna get to the task of starting it. And so there's that. And then there's a third one. There's a Honda Goldwing out there.
Oh, cool.
You know, with the opposing cylinders.
Yeah.
Which is a great design.
Yeah.
Rather than we love the Harley sound, but it's those cylinders are just not the best design.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. How about you?
I want a bike. Florida, this place around here is not a good place to ride bikes. Too many people get killed. Old people.
I am officially inviting you out to Tucson.
Oh, I'd love to. I love Tucson. Yeah.
I'm officially inviting you to come out here anytime.
Cool.
It's starting to warm up a little bit.
Right.
Obvious. But you are, you know,
Thank you.
I don't work a day job, so if you came out here, I'd host you.
Yeah.
I'd take you to Tombstone. I'd show you the.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Yeah. You have to just call me first.
You know what? I wanted to go to the graveyard, the airplane graveyard. Oh. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't get to do that.
Are you into airplanes?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's there's two. There's the airplane museum.
Yep.
And then there is the boneyard, they call it.
The boneyard. That's where I want to go. Yeah.
And that is a really impressive site. If you see a photo from above.
Yep.
Oh, there is so many planes out there.
Got to see that.
There's thousands of airplanes.
Yep.
So
Billy, I want to thank you, man, for being on the show today. It's been a real pleasure.
Oh, man, the pleasure is all mine, man.
I want to mention you can get Muscle and Blood. It's available on Amazon.com. It features Pat Travers, Frank Marino, Les Dudek, Marc Storace, and Barry Sparks, all available at Amazon.com. I saw you have a Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Billy Stokes Music. Billy actually is Billy Stokes Muscle and Blood. That's the Facebook site. I saw Illusion Studios that is out there where you do recording.
Another one. That's another way to access some of the stuff. And
okay,
that's Jim Pavette. He's the guy that produced and recorded. It was his studio that we did Muscle and Blood at. So God bless him. But you know, honestly, the easiest thing to do if you want the album is either contact me directly. You could even do it through Facebook. But Amazon, and you know, all the other places you go has it. You know,
you just don't make as much.
yeah, I just don't make as much.
I'm the same way with my book.
They've already pirated this CD. I approached Mike Barney years ago at a Pat Travers show. I said, "Here's my CD. I want you to listen to it." And he goes, "I already have that CD." And I said, "No, you don't."
That's something. It's crazy.
He said, "I said, where'd you get it?" He said, "Russia."
Yeah.
You got someone
crazy
pirated this stuff and they're selling it in Russia.
People are selling my book on eBay. I never put it on eBay.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, you know, it's a little unsettling because we're supposed to be making the money.
Yeah, it's a shame. I miss the old days of record companies
before the MP3 file.
Yeah. Even CDs were okay back then, you know.
The old days. I don't know who told me. They said, "Hey, that thing you would have gotten a recording deal."
That's right.
With one of the bigger houses back then.
It's a cool cover too, by the way.
Yeah, that was a Ring.
Really?
That was an iPhone photo of a
awesome
silver ring I got in Mexico. But yeah,
very cool. I also I want to mention the Wounded Warriors Project, community fundraising .woundedwarriorproject.org if you want to donate it to the Wounded
beautiful Warrior. Group. Nate Vandenberg Nate Vandenberg is the full-time Wounded Warrior rep. You know, I'm an official representative of the Wounded Warriors.
Oh, cool.
so that's something that's important to talk about. We will utilize the Wounded Warrior charity moving forward. When we do the album.
Yep.
It will likely be, if we do some live shows, it would be a time to try to get donations for the Wounded Warriors. That's really their purpose. And
you could do a mega concert, for Wounded Warriors. Really.
Shout out to Vince Martell of Vanilla Fudge. He texted me and brought up the whole Ukrainian fundraising.
Oh, okay.
Idea, and it's something I'm thinking of, but I really kind of have to stay focused on getting this album done.
Right.
And then we'll step into all things, performance and release and get the music to ears somehow.
Good.
That's the whole key. Let's make the art, let's get it out, the new music to people.
If I can do anything, Billy, let me know, man. This interview will be all over the place. I'm on Spotify, Apple, Pandora. Right. I'm on all the sites.
You're beautiful. I'm lighting some sweet grass here. And it's not the type of grass you think. It's not sweet leaf.
I was gonna say, give me a hit.
But this is to bring the happy spirits. To bring everything positive to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm saying a prayer for you and your family.
And same to you. And same to you.
God bless you for having me.
Hey, we'll circle around again when you're closer to the album, the new album. And
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I'll be talking to you.
Yeah. We're Facebook friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll powwow it up, man.
Okay, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Keep rocking, Ray. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. All the best.
Same to you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye now.